Okay, so like I said in the email, I want to work on thresholds tonight and also use this as another opportunity to work on iterations of pairs and triplet hides, close hides, and figured it was a good time to come back to combining the two, give them more experience, more variations of both threshold hides and close hides. So for the first round, I'm going to have you put your chair just outside of your search area. So basically, if you're sitting in your chair, you are at the start line. You're not over the start line, but you're at your start line, whatever you've determined your start line to be for this particular search. And then we're going to start with a pair of hides. So a set of 2 close hides that are probably interacting in some way, converging or overlapping or something like that. The closeness, can vary, can be up to you, but, I wouldn't consider 6 feet apart a pair. So something, reasonably close. And I want both hides for this round on the same side of the search area. I don't care which side, but just whichever side you pick, both of your hides are going to be on that side. I don't want the pair broken up by the movement through the start line for this round. And you are going to sit in your chair, release the dog to search, and then you can get up to pay, and then you can sit back down, and then you can get up to pay the second hide.
When you say both hides on the same side, you mean different heights, but on the same side? Like,
yeah, I don't care if they are, I just mean that they're either, so if you're sitting in your start line chair, they're either off to your left or they're off to your right.
Oh, got it.
But you can have same plane or high, low, or whatever you like in that sense.
Okay.
Any questions?
So the hides are going to be threshold hides. So how close to the actual entrance do you want them to be?
It depends on the features of your search area, but I would say the closest one to your start line, maybe within a foot, and then the other one within 1 to 4 feet of that hide, depending on, what direction you're kind of going with your pair.
Okay, and then we're sitting on the inside of the start line. We're not actually sitting in the search area.
You are sitting outside of your search area. Yes, on the other side of the start line from the search and where your dog will be working and all that. And in terms of how close it could be to your start line, the first hide could be essentially touching what you might consider, like if your start line went from floor to ceiling, it could be basically, almost touching that. I like to do a lot of door frame hides that are essentially like on the start line in practice, just to get my dog working as close as possible to where I send them from, but it doesn't have to be that close. So somewhere within like an inch of your start line and a foot of your start line for the first hide.
Okay.
So Natalie,
yeah,
I learned I can move the camera. Sorry, go ahead.
that's okay. So Natalie, so if I put the chair here, and then I have a hide here and a hide here, is that kind of what you're looking for?
Okay, so you're picturing your start line as like coming out from the door frame across toward us almost.
Well, like I thought the start line would be the door frame, but I don't have a way, except that I don't have a way to keep the other dog back behind me in a chair. The door is what's keeping them away.
Okay, you don't have
I don't have
tie them to or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
There's nothing in there to keep them from the other dog from coming in.
Okay, then yeah, just have it be as absolutely tight to the door as you can. What makes sense to you for getting your, being able to get your dogs in and out. And then you're just going to define the start line slightly differently for yourself, which is fine.
Right, because like I would have, if I didn't have to be sitting in the chair and I could just stand, like, but I can't leave the door open. I have to come inside and close the door.
Right. So. Yeah. So we'll just work with a slightly different start line.
Okay. So I thought the chair was going to be for putting hides on, not for sitting in. Otherwise, I may not have picked the garage.
I see.
Or
Do you have anywhere that you can be that the dogs don't have access to that would be easy?
I mean, not that has a door into a big enough space that's going to make sense. Ooh, it's really dark in there now. Anyway, not really. Not because the house is pretty open, so there's like no doors downstairs. There's only doors into people's bedrooms upstairs.
Okay.
I'm not really into letting the dogs into people's bedrooms.
Right. Because if you wanted to shift into your usual search area, you could sit at the top of the stair there and, you know, have that sort of usual threshold area that you have. But, you know, and I could shift you slightly.
This is fine. I think I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it if you're okay with it. I just.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. You're still having, besides not having the doorway part, you're still having the threshold part and the sitting part and the close hides part.
Right.
So you have most of it.
Okay.
And when I did this on Tuesday, somebody couldn't exactly sit behind their threshold because it was so tight they couldn't fit a chair there, which was not a problem I was anticipating. But, you know, we did something slightly different and made it work. So whatever you're comfortable with, if you would rather shift to a different space, I can move you in the run order. But if you're happy with this, I'm happy with this.
I'm okay with this. It's fine.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or need me to look at your search area before we start? Yes.
We're doing this off leash?
Yes, for this round.
So question, the threshold will be that door there. The hides are on the dollhouse, both of them, one on the end and one on the other. But my chair is like facing the door somewhere. You see it?
Okay, is there any way to put your chair in your start, behind your start?
Yeah, I could put it towards this side, but I can't put it behind the door, I guess. You want me to sit in where I let him in at?
Yeah, so if you could have it just in that open doorway that's behind your head and just, leave that open. Okay, that'll work.
Okay. I can do that. Just checking.
Yes, sounds good.
Most logistics of anything I've ever seen in your classes. It's an engineering class.
Yes, what I should have done is like draw a diagram ahead of time. Because evidently I do not know how to explain what I mean because it's been very confusing every time. Okay.
I also think, you know, we have all these
chair.
we have these concepts of threshold too, right? So we have concrete thinking as well. So, you know, there's that.
Yes, definitely. Well, that looks like you made it work, Elisa.
Yeah, I put a dog gate up. We'll see, a baby gate up. We'll see how long that works for.
Okay, sounds good. So if you're ready, go ahead and get your first dog.
Okay, and so I'm just supposed to sit in the chair and let her go. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
This looks like a maintenance search in a school, like a trial at a school.
Yes.
Oh, there she goes.
Well, she's checking the threshold. That's good. Just the wrong side of the threshold.
Yeah, she doesn't know. Oh, another thing, if your baby gate doesn't work, we could pretend that your rug there is a start box and just put your chair there and just close the door behind you. Now
yes, good girl. Good job.
Oh.
Very nice. Okay, search. Yep.
She certainly thinks it's strange to have to move on with you returning to a chair.
I know. Search.
Hey, dog.
Is that it? I'm not sure exactly where it is.
There.
There we go. Good girl.
Right
Interesting
there.
how it's
Yeah,
collecting in that bucket so quickly.
Well, I touched the bucket after to move it out of the way. So it probably has odor on it. Good girl. Come on.
That was
what after I put because
good to work. Maybe you should touch some more stuff.
My dad has some dirty water that he uses to clean his golf clubs, and I didn't want her.
Yes. Good.
So.
Very nice.
Okay.
Peg. Caught that further one, I think. Good. He was trying to figure out if your movement was information or what you were doing.
I know.
Good boy.
Figured out how to get back there.
Yeah. Very nice.
Good boy. Couldn't figure out how to get back there easily.
Yeah. Very good. Well, and that's why I like giving handlers assignments, because it has you do something that's not related to the search or what the dog is doing or where the hides are. And it can be very bizarre for the dog. All right, Heather.
All right. Hold on. I know. You poor tortured animal. Come on. Search.
He's glowing.
Well, I thought it might help.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Good girl.
Good job. Very, very nice. Good job. Well done. Yep, there
Nice.
it is.
Good.
Girl. Oops, I lost a treat bag, but there it is. Oh, that stuff here. It's hanging on the thing there. All right.
Good girl.
Oh,
So once she got herself back into odor, really nice connected work between the two hides.
yeah, she sometimes gets a little excited going out the door.
A little bit, yes. Okay, Brenda, whenever you're ready. Nice. Very good turnaround when he realized he'd passed it. What I saw on Tuesday was a lot more of certain dogs traveling into areas they wouldn't normally if you were working with them. It makes sense that they'd go back into the room that you're actually sitting in. But some of the dogs even traveling into completely different rooms in the house because they felt more like they could just go anywhere, do anything, less of, I'm in here searching with you and kind of telling you what's included, which I found interesting. And the second one's a bit elevated, right?
His nose is running high. He was almost on it once. Got that one. 5 more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Puppies. Yay, puppies. Yay, good job. Yay, yay,
Nice job. Okay, and Elisa, you are muted.
There we go. I
Yes.
didn't realize it was already my turn already again.
Yeah, they're moving quickly through this.
Okay, Delilah.
For what it's worth, I thought the instructions were clear.
Search. Yes,
Good.
good girl.
That
Very
another cute dog.
nice.
Oh my God.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Search.
That side of the garage is just extra fascinating.
Well, we put hides over there because there's so much stuff over there. So there's a lot of places for odor to get trapped.
There a door down there?
No, not on that side. On that side, there's just a lot of exercise equipment, a treadmill, an elliptical machine. My dad works out over there, plus a whole bunch of containers and.
Oh,
See, she's sniffing the bucket also.
Yep. There we go.
Good girl.
Nice.
because I was thinking
job.
when the dog came in, maybe the odor was sucking around the corner, but I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. That was
No.
my initial thought too, but it sounds like more of a pattern
Right.
Okay, come on.
expectation.
Right.
Well,
Right.
and also usually my mom's car's pulled in all the way up to that point. So they can't go just over that way. So it may be this, that it's something different to
Right.
a different way to go. Because my mom's car comes all the way to here in the garage. So they can't turn and come down that way.
Huh.
Typically when we're practicing.
Right. Interesting. Well, good. That was easy peasy for all of them. Maybe slightly different that you weren't with them, but they all handled it well. And I'm glad to see we didn't have any real issues with you not being with them in the search area. What I want to do for this round is for you to do a triplet. So 3 hides in conjunction of some kind on one side of the search area. It could be the same side that we just did, or it could be the other side. This time I want your chair in the middle of your search area, whatever the most middle point of your search area is. And when you release the dog to search, you're just going to walk straight to, it doesn't need to be running, but you're just going to walk straight to your chair in the middle and sit down.
So off leash again.
Off leash again. The dog is going to have to work. They're either going to have to ignore you moving through the search area, or they're going to have to work back to the threshold, depending on how much attention they're paying to what you're doing. But since we're giving them a triplet worth of odor, hopefully it'll just smack them in the face and they'll work at least one of them right off the bat. And of course, if you don't make it to your chair by the time they get one, you can rush over and pay. We'll see how impacted they are by your intentional movement through the search area.
Does it matter which way we're facing?
It does, but you can choose if you would rather face the threshold and potentially make it easier for them that way, or not face the threshold and potentially make it harder for them.
And so the triplet is supposed to be how close together and how close are they supposed to all be to the threshold?
So have your first one within 2 to 3 feet of the start line. So as close as you want and not further than 3 feet. And then how close everything is can somewhat be up to the actual, architecture of your space, but usually each hide within about 3 feet forces interaction between the hides. So so like there could be hide 1 and then 3 feet and then hide 2 and then 3 feet and then hide 3. Or you could have, so that would be like a line or a triangle, which most configurations of 3, unless they're a line, are going to be a triangle. But you can decide how, what the angles are on your triangle. And if you have a pretty open path to your chair, that will help you too.
Huh?
If you have a nice open path to your chair where you're not going to trip over anything getting to your chair, that will be helpful for yourself.
And always recommended.
What?
So let me just ask a question. If we're supposed to be sitting in the middle of the search area, but there's 3 in a straight line, where are you? So I guess I just don't, so like I put one here and I put one here. I just don't know where to put the third one so that that makes me in the middle of the search area.
Okay, so I'm imagining your search area is your whole garage. So to me, the middle of your search area
Okay,
is the garage.
got it.
And then you can just set the hides along one side from the start line in whatever triplet configuration makes sense to you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean in the center of the hides themselves.
Natalie, would you pull up my camera for a minute and tell me if you can see where I've put these? So I have one here.
Yep.
One here.
Yep.
And one here.
Yes, can see all that.
Okay.
What is that dark thing on the wall?
It's a gas spigot where you could hook a gas barbecue or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
I noticed
just
in
used
the
it for
earlier
nose work.
search and wondered if it was a tin because it was just so randomly in the middle of the wall.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice nose work distractor thing.
Yes, great.
That's what we use it for.
All right, is everyone ready?
Can I show you real quick where I put them?
Yes.
Okay, so I have one here, one right down here. It's a little bit further than 3 feet, and then one right here on the pillar. Okay.
Sounds good.
Hold on. Search.
Well, she got the idea from the last search of turn right, left. That would be left for her.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good girl.
Perhaps see for her next search if we can figure out how close we need to get the first hide to the door. Good girl. To get it to blow into her nose when she's starting. Because I think she's paying attention. She was maybe going a little fast the first time, but she was still paying attention.
Yes, good girl.
Good girl.
Good
girl, Cora. But it was a really nice tight turn to the left. It was very pretty.
Thank you. Good.
All right, Peg.
Oh, good boy. I couldn't get
Good boy. Even with you trying to walk to the chair. Very nice. All your bad handling practice.
Good boy.
Good boy.
I didn't even make it to the chair.
You have one more chance to make it to the chair.
Good boy. Nice job.
Very good. Wow, he like running.
I should have put my chair further in the, I don't know where.
No, that was perfect. That was great. He totally blocked you to keep you from missing that first hide.
Like, no, it's right here, and I'm not letting you have. I'm not letting you lie.
Yes, very nice. All right, yeah.
Okay. Search. Nice find. Good job. Well done.
That took a little problem solving. You think she was getting the one on the, or one of the other two?
Yeah. I do. I think so, because she kind of did a little head snap toward it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she doesn't. Good girl.
There you go. Good
Doesn't
girl.
usually take that long to problem solve a fairly open hide like that.
Good job. And there it is.
Nice. Very good.
He's so smart. He's so smart. Good girl. Good girl. All right, come on. All done.
All righty, Brenda, just unmute us before you get Gibbs. Lots more interest in the camera this time. Nice. And having you guys going back to the chair kind of forces your handling in some ways to be like that video I showed the other week of me and Hazel at that summit trial, where I pulled back really dramatically from a hide and made it a lot harder to work the close hide. Oh, I think he's got to get himself back closer to the start line for the third one. I don't know if you can hear me, Brenda, but one thing you can do, since this is a newer thing for him, potentially, I don't know how much you've worked on this exactly, if he goes back to these hides, you could pick them up to help him work back independently to the hide he hasn't gotten.
There we go.
Gibbs just got his NW3 Elite title about a month or so ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah, so she's hoping to get into some elite trials once trials are happening again.
It's tough. There's a couple trials out east here in the Northeast that are still happening, but man, I've opted out of both of them. Yeah. Tough time.
That's probably the smart thing to do. I was in Sherlock, and maybe could have gotten my NW3 Elite, and I also pulled out.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
They ended up canceling it anyway.
Yeah.
Today, finally.
Yeah, definitely overworking it.
Yes, but this is, I think, not so much an odor problem, more of an expectation issue, but he'll figure it out.
Yeah. And I think it's funny that he hears you from the computer.
Has he noticed it when I talk?
Yeah, totally.
That's very cute.
Just like in person, when you hear him, when you say it's good or something, he's going, what?
Yeah. And is it closer to the doorway than he's been, or is it closer to you?
No, it's about 3 feet. It's just on the bottom lip of the dollhouse.
Okay, so he was almost there.
He was almost there. And he was working. He just.
Yeah, it looked like he caught something pretty strongly.
Couldn't believe it. Yeah, I don't think he believed it.
I think he might have thought it was the previous hide from last round.
Yeah, I swapped him up.
There we go. Now he's almost got it. Has a better sense of where it is.
Yes.
Good. Good boy.
I can believe I did that.
He just needed to believe himself.
No, did not. Thanks.
Nicely done, Gibbs.
That's all right. Good buddies. Hey, buddies.
Well, he didn't give up. That's the really important part.
No, he did not.
All right, Elisa.
Okay. Delilah. Okay, hold on. Come here. Let's do this. Ready? Search. I was trying to see if I gave her time at the threshold.
Yeah,
She
it
would
was
turn the other
another
direction.
very pretty wrap to the left.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, you know, normally, like I said, my mom's car's pulled in, so the only way to go is to the left.
Ah,
So
so very funny that they didn't last time.
I think because it was new and open, and they were like,
Yeah,
yes, good
good.
girl.
They are very curious.
Search. Yes, good girl.
Nice. She watched
Good
you
job.
walk away from her, but she
Right.
didn't let it keep her
Can't
from
even sit
working.
down. Look, she's even working here. Look
Yeah.
at this.
Yes, good
Beautiful.
girl.
Yeah,
That's
Very
awesome.
nice job. Good
Really
girl.
good.
Come on.
Yeah, very minimally bothered by you moving away from her. Very good.
Yeah. Well, that's because we've done practice with it. I think if I could try sticking one right on the edge of this bucket that's here, right?
Yeah,
right,
I think
so
that
that
would
they
be
can pick it up
interesting.
right from the door.
And
Whatever,
what I
depending
want
on what we're
to do-
doing next.
Yeah. Well, any thoughts or observations for these last couple rounds before I tell you what we're going to do next?
Yeah,
Well, I feel
no,
like
I couldn't get in the room.
That was great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I feel like Thea doesn't care most of the time whether I'm there or not, as long as I'm there with the cookie fast enough.
Yeah.
The searching, she's very comfortable doing on her own, and that's
That's
not
awesome.
surprising to me.
Yes. No, it's very helpful. And what's interesting is that sometimes very independent dogs just do what they would always do and it's no big deal. And sometimes they go, wait a minute, you are really going somewhere. You don't usually really go somewhere without me. And so that change can be something else to work through for some dogs, whereas other dogs don't care at all. Or like Delilah went, what are you doing? And then kept going, didn't even take a step that direction.
The sitting threw him off.
Yes. Yes. And that was part of why I wanted to have you guys sit and not, because I could have said, just stand behind the start line, just stand in the center of your space and return to that spot that you've predetermined for yourself. But sitting is a very different, disconnected picture. And so if it's not something you've done a lot of, it's really worth doing. I was recently wanting to do something, I think I mentioned this, it might have not been in this class, but I was wanting to do something where I had people sit on the floor while their dog was searching. But then I can't just ask a whole class to sit on the floor. Not everybody can sit on the floor, can get up from sitting on the floor. So I didn't end up doing it, but that's the sort of thing that I would recommend if it's something you can do doing in practice, because that is even worse than sitting in a chair in terms of weirdness.
I'd have to pitch my treats. I don't know if I could get up fast enough, but I could set up pitchable treats. That would be good.
Yes,
Pitchable treat places.
definitely. Yeah. Yes, that would be a good way of working around the speed portion of it, or the definitely. Especially if you have good aim, or you can practice your aim, because that's worth doing too. Or just throw treats wherever. Throw in the other direction, let them chase them if you don't have good aim. Yeah, that's a great workaround. So I would suggest if you guys are feeling like doing something like that to do that. I also want to do it where I was lying on the floor, but then I have to find a floor that I'm willing to lie on, which is
Yeah.
not my training room, I'll tell you that much. So for the next round.
But can I just say, yes, those are great exercises, even with when your dog knows how to sit for 3 years. And then you say to someone, really, so go over here and sit in a chair and ask your dog to sit. And the dog was like, what?
Yes.
I have never seen that. You have never asked me to do that before.
Absolutely. Anyway. Yes. And it's the kind of thing that I hear people talk about a lot with something like sit. Remember to proof it. Remember to do it in new locations. Remember that a sit in your kitchen isn't the same as a sit in the park. But then we don't necessarily do some of the, for nose work, some of the more basic proofing that we could do. Like one thing we've done in these virtual classes before, having your back turned.
Wearing
sitting,
sunglasses.
Yes. Wearing
sunglasses.
A hat. Yeah, I've had trial days where I dressed very, very, very differently, and Hazel doesn't like hats, so we had to make sure to work on that. Or the first mock trial I did with Hazel, it ran so late that we didn't get our first run until it was pitch dark outside, and our first search was exterior. So I wore a headlamp, and that was the first time she'd ever seen me in a headlamp. Fortunately, she worked just fine. But yeah, if I had thought to do that ahead of time, I would have been a little bit less stressed about it.
The top 5 things to not do on trial day.
Right. Fortunately, that wasn't a real one. That was a mock. So I could, it didn't matter if, if it didn't go well, but still, it was the first like NW3 type event I did with her. So I was more stressed out than I probably needed to be for a mock event. So for the next round, I'm going to have you guys set 2 hides on one side and 1 hide on the other. So you're going to end up with 3, but they're going to be spread out. So this 2 on one side can still be a pair if you'd like to do close, which I would recommend, but they can be further if you want to do further than a pair. And then the single, can be whatever. If you haven't ever done 2 on either side of the doorway, like really tight, that's a very fun one to do. And that almost makes like those 2 in the doorway a pair unto themselves, except they're being broken by the movement through. So that can make them a little bit more disconnected than a pair. But if you haven't done that, it's worth doing. And then the other one, further out. And go ahead, Peg.
Oh, no, you weren't finished. I don't know where we're going to be. So go ahead.
Okay, yes. So this time I'm going to have you handle more normally. So you're going to go with the dog. You're going to support them when they find a hide, don't run away from it. Allow them to keep working directly from one hide to the next. So this would be more like your ideal handling for this sort of search area. And I'll have you guys go on leash this time. But if your dog skips the threshold, I want you to skip the threshold with them. I want your movement to be very, very based on the dog's movement. And you have to go with them because you're on leash and you're not going to stop them with the leash in the search. Any questions?
So both of the ones on either side of the door are threshold hides, or not on either side of the search area. Both should be within a few feet of the.
Yeah, so I'd like essentially all 3 of these hides to be something you could consider a threshold hide.
Okay.
Now it can be, my sort of definition of a threshold can be a little bit further out as long as it's still like something the dog could pick up from the start line space. So if you have like an airflow where something further out would be blowing into the start line, you could do that. Although that would probably end up pulling them off of your close doorway hide, so you probably don't want to set that for this.
How far do you want the ones apart, the one further into the room, anywhere or near the threshold?
Kind of near the threshold, so okay. Maybe like within 5 feet.
Okay.
5 or 6 feet. And it doesn't, like, it could be out into the room itself, or it can be further along the wall, which is probably what I would do.
Well, Natalie, what do you think? You think Chi is pretty perky?
Sorry, I started to answer and then realized I was muted.
Sorry. You think Chi's pretty perky? He seems totally normal.
He does seem very normal. Is there a reason he shouldn't be?
Well, we don't usually train at this hour. I don't know if we've ever trained at 8 o'clock at night, ever.
What's he been doing all day? Anything strenuous?
Absolutely not.
So he's probably relieved that he got to do something before bedtime.
That's true. Probably.
But no, he seems as awake as he does in your early afternoon class.
Right. I guess maybe I gave him a bit. It's also rainy and snowy and nasty here, and he was happy to curl up. Yeah.
Wow. I have a couple dogs in Tuesday night, which that class is at 9 o'clock, who were falling asleep between searches. Like, what are we doing? For them, it was 10 o'clock. What are we doing up in the middle of the night doing nose work? But they got used to it, and now they don't nap as much during class. All right, Elisa, are you ready? Want to show me anything?
Yeah. So I put one right here on the bucket, one directly across on the golf stand, and then the other one down over here.
Okay, great.
So, yeah.
As always, they are very ready.
Always. Yes. Hold on. I got to put your leash on. She's like, what the heck? Hold on.
Yeah.
Search. Ouch.
And you can go with her anywhere.
Like, what the hell just happened? Good girl.
Good girl.
Good. Search.
For her, it may be easier when you have to go to good girl. When you're going to a chair, because then she can't reach your treat pouch.
I know.
She definitely went the right direction after that second hide, but I don't think she was quite back in search mode yet.
No, because she was too interested in what she missed out in my treat pouch.
Yes. Come on, Corey, you can get them easier if you just go to the next side.
Yeah, right. Come on.
Good girl.
Good girl.
All righty, Peg.
All right, let's see what we got going here.
Good.
Good boy.
Nice. You can go with him wherever.
One's right at, literally at the threshold on the left where I came in.
Got it.
Taped it to the wall.
Yeah. Now he's going to get it.
Good boy.
Hey, good boy. I think he just needed a fresh approach.
Not the shortest way around, but.
Yeah, that was good.
That's a new problem for us, which we will work on. Nice job.
What's the new problem?
The ones that right across from each other, right at the threshold.
Yes. That's
right.
Very challenging. I think I told you guys about the time I set that in an elite prep day, and the first dog who ran it found one, didn't alert on it, found the other one, did alert, and then refused to go back to the first one she'd found. She's like, it's the same thing. I don't know why you want me to go back to it. That's exactly the same as this hide that you're paying me for.
You know, that happened to us last week in practice. Let me just say quickly, we had 3 hides within about 4.5 feet, and they were blind. Moy set them. And he went from, and I didn't know, and it was on one of those Rubbermaid things, and he hit the hide, and I knew he had hit the hide, and then he looked to the right and went to the next one and would not go back to that one. And I just waited him out. But he, I picked the hides up, but he was like, well, I found that one already. He never told me about it.
Wow. Well, good thing he didn't do that to you at the trial where he dragged you back to the one you hadn't called.
Seriously. But these were very close together, but it was like, wow, but right, seriously. But it was like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's really interesting what their perception is and how it can be really different in some searches where you would think that it's the same thing that they're experiencing, kind of. Okay, Heather.
All right. Search. Yes, very nice.
Good girl.
Very nice. Good job.
Good, and she can go that way. That's totally fine.
Good job.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
number 2. Well done. Well done. Good job. Good girl. Yeah, well done. Good girl. Oh, there you go.
Good.
Good.
You have a glow stick around her neck?
She
What was
does.
Yes.
The light up collar
That's
that
awesome.
we use when she's out at night. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, interesting how she had to get past that hide to work it.
Right.
So steer. Here. There.
Great. Stairs are so much fun for hide setting. I need more stairs in my house.
I love the 3 dimensions. That's really what we've been working on all year, 3 dimensions. So interesting.
Yeah.
But yet, Natalie, I couldn't figure out why he wouldn't tell me about that hide. I've never seen him do that. And the only thing I could think of was it was so close, he thought he told me.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Is he willing to go back normally for you?
Oh, yeah.
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 Very interesting. Nice.
Oh, you got a tricky problem here.
Yes. And this is, I think, is another place where we can see expectation hit one threshold hide really well, then didn't have the expectation that there would be others that close.
Right, right.
Good boy.
That was so interesting. And the handler did a beautiful job of just not showing the dog anything. I love that.
Yes, very good following.
That was awesome.
That's the hardest part.
Right.
She's so talkative. Oh, I thought he almost had it. Oh, but this one's a little higher. That's why. Floating up
the wiggle, so
the steps a bit.
Love the wiggle. Yes.
There we go.
Nice.
Good boy.
That's a very tricky problem, actually, with the stairs.
Yeah, I like that.
And the open door.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So on Tuesday, Leanne said a problem on stairs, but her stairs were a lot more enclosed, like wall on either side. And she set one on the 3rd step up and then one on the beginning of the banister. So they were almost at the exact same plane. And for her younger dog, the banister one was incredibly difficult, but it was shooting straight up the banister toward the hide that was 3 steps up. It was really fascinating. And I think a big part was that dog wasn't very comfortable searching while on the stairs. That made it broke him out of search mode. Because then when her other dog ran, he's much more confident environmentally, and he just got the higher one and then went straight to the same plane one. But anyway, just another example of how interesting steps can be. I think they're great for working on various, weird odor problems. And then you could see him sort of swirl for Gibbs just now. You could see him swirl above the steps as he caught the higher one, which I thought was really cool. Okay, Delilah's turn.
Okay. And also carefully confidence, carefully used for confidence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. Wait here. Hold on. Good girl.
Nice.
Nice.
Very good.
Good job. Search. I think I have a knot in her leash.
What about her leash?
There's a big knot in the middle of
Oh.
it, so it's not as long as it. Well, kid, let's see what we would do in a trial. Check back in the other direction. Oh yeah, good girl.
Yeah, getting into that corner is much more natural going counterclockwise in this space than clockwise.
Yes.
I would guess also that visual of that thing sticking out of the wall would be something difficult. On the right, it's easier, but on the left, it's harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Nice.
Very nice.
Good job.
Girl.
Very nice. Okay, go on.
Great. All right. Happy to see everyone flying through stuff. We haven't had anything that took a significant amount of time. So for the last round, how many hides did I have you guys prep total?
6.
6. Okay. We're not going to use all of them.
Oh.
But what I do want you to do is a threshold pair on one side of your start line, and then a pair in the corner of some other corner in your search area.
Okay.
So 4 total for this search.
Oh, gee.
Is someone crying over there?
Grunting.
Oh, and handling wise, you can work this on or off leash, but if you're off, I want you to still mirror them and move with them as if you were on.
Okay, can I show you where to put them?
Sure.
Okay, so I did this bucket again since neither of them went to it first.
Sounds good.
And then I put one right here on this corner where I put one before.
Okay, cool.
So those are the 2 threshold, and then over in this corner, I have one right here on the hinge of the cabinet, and one right over here on the hole digger.
Okay, cool.
From it. They're very close together, so we'll see. But since they didn't go, neither of them went all the way back into that corner last time.
Yep. And I'm hoping with your threshold pair here that they'll both be, well, that they'll be quite available from each other, which I think, having seen the way they worked them before, that they will be. And so we'll get to see if they're able to focus, pick up and work the second one from the first one.
See.
And let's hold on just a second. I think
Yeah,
people
no,
are
I'm
a little
just
bit, but
opening this
almost
up.
ready.
Yeah.
I was listening to some people talk about corners recently and how often, in trial in particular, dogs don't really push very deep into corners. And it was reiterating for me something that, I've believed for a long time, but it emphasized it even more, which is just how important hide setting in corners is, so that it just occurs to your dog that that's an important part of the search area. Now, maybe for, reasons of the setup of the search, or because they don't need to for odor or whatever, they may not push all the way in trial. But if it's well within their repertoire, you have the best chance of them being tight enough that if there is a hide in the corner or odor floating into the corner, that they'll work it without you having to handle that for them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're ready for Cora.
Okay. Search.
Fascinating.
Oh, she goes to the corner.
Good girl.
Good girl. Very nice.
Nice. That odor just sucked her right in.
Search.
I had high hopes for her catching the other one, but wasn't to be. There we go. Good girl.
I think that it's going to be something that over time, when she slows down a little bit, sometimes I think because of her age and how anxious she is to do it, she just skips it. I mean, we always go back.
Yeah. I do think it has a lot to do with her age, maturity, arousal level, and all of that. Where Delilah, who's low arousal anyway, plus older and more experienced, is able to maintain that focus very easily. Good girl.
Yeah. Good. Search.
Could even be pulling through that stuff, maybe.
Good girl.
Good girl. And she may, like a lot of dogs do at certain points, have, and some dogs have reoccurring sort of phases of this where they'll start to be able to work one hide right from the next, and then they'll go back through a phase of just pinging off, flying into the search area or through the search area, and then they, over time remember again, oh yeah, I can do this without flying through the search area.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things that I'm sure that we will be working on forever.
Yeah, like you've been in class with Brenda Cox, and her Marlo regularly will go through a phase of like going one hide to the next perfect, and then flying around and not being able to, and just sort of moving back and forth, but with more and more movement toward being able to work one to the next. And her dog is way, way, way older than Cora.
Yes.
All right, Peg. Are those chairs over there your corner?
Yeah, I kind of faked it because it's kind of wide.
Yeah, that works.
So I have two threshold hide here and here, and then I have one over here on the mantle, and then one on the chair. Can you see these?
Yes.
It's a little fakey corner, but.
Yeah, but it looks fairly natural.
Good. We didn't know we'd be learning engineering on Saturday. Good boy, look at you. Wow, nice job.
No.
Good boy.
Wow. That odor just smacked him in the face.
Good
Good boy.
boy. Super duper.
That was some extra useful odor movement from that hide.
Good boy.
Nice.
That was kind of a close, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
It wasn't as far maybe as I could have.
No, that was good though. I'm actually surprised that the odor went straight across your search area from that chair. It worked really nicely.
Good boy. That was super nice. Super nice. That was super nice.
Oh, sorry, wrong spotlighting. Okay, Heather.
So I didn't have a good corner across, so I used my threshold as a corner.
Okay.
And I've got one here and one over here. And then I have kind of this corner-ish area with the chairs and bushes and rocks. So there's one on the rock and one on the chair.
Great.
Kind of in that. Okay.
And that's also probably an area that would be easy to round, which is the issue of corners, is how easy they are to round. So somewhat akin to a corner.
Crate, so her whole crate was glowing.
Sorry, what was that?
I left her light on her in her crate when I put her in, so her whole crate was glowing.
Huh, that was interesting.
Oh, you like that one, huh? Okay. Yeah, that one got you from all the way across. Good girl. Good
One
job.
thing I think would be really interesting to try is after you pay, not giving her quite as much distance.
Yeah.
Sort of supporting the direction you were going.
Yeah, she's bounced out of that corner twice.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's unusual.
This
her.
one is
I know
speaking.
you like that one for some
This
reason. It
was
must be a stinky one.
really loud.
Yeah, it's a stinky one.
Good. Even though she didn't take that pathway in front of you, I felt like that was a good distance to give her.
Yeah, there's another one.
Good
Well
girl.
done. Well
I
done.
was just skating across the rocks, I guess.
I guess the other one must be like an amphitheater, you know? The one
Yeah.
on the rock must have been like, whoa.
When it tried to pull her again.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sneaky one, huh? Right underneath there.
That's
Good
an interesting little lip you got there.
Very.
It is. Good. And it's cold out, so I think maybe it's just really keeping it close underneath there. Good job.
Mm-hmm. And I've forgotten where you said the other hide was, but she seemed to be getting drawn in for odor and then just not have anything additional to follow.
Yeah. It is right on that door at the base of it where she's walked past it a couple times here.
Or maybe about expectations too.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. The one at that she has not gotten yet is only a 2 Q-tip hide, and the other one that's on the rock that keeps yelling at her is a 4 Q-tip hide, and so is this one under the ledge. So it could be just that she's
right,
not getting as much odor.
And the odor sticks in closer with the cold.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and these the
But it looked like she was catching, I don't know if it's the one she hasn't gotten or the other one, but in the siding, kind of along the same plane as where the last hide is.
Good girl. Let me take that away. Yep.
And I think one of the first couple classes you did with me was the one where we did different odor thresholds.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with start line thresholds. And she didn't seem to I don't remember her having a significant preference or difference in how she worked them, but.
No, we tend to switch up our number of Q-tips all the time, just for the kind of same reason. I'm just gonna pick this up while I'm over here.
Yeah, good idea.
And it's usually not a problem. I like to switch it up because I think it keeps her from developing that pattern of it must be this much odor. But yeah, in the cold, apparently we need more odor.
Yeah, well, and it could be that with, it probably hasn't been cold for all that long there, that she has to recalibrate a little bit with the new
Working
weather.
something.
Yeah, very interesting.
Is that where it is in that door behind the door?
I think it's on the other door.
No, it's right under her feet there practically. It's along the threshold of the door, and it could be that the house is much warmer. So I'll close that and see if that also helps settle the odor.
You're doing a really good job though of not broadcasting. I'm pretty impressed with that. I know where it was based on you.
It is my goal in life to not do this.
Great example.
I am one of those people who are like, go, you can get it. It's right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
That did help.
Yeah, closing the door seemed to make all the difference.
Yeah, I think it might have been pulling the odor strangely. Good girl.
Heather, where are you?
Washington State.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Seattle. So we're at, I think, 44 degrees at the moment, on our way down to 38 tonight.
Okay, I manufactured a corner as well, kind of.
Sounds good.
It's on the vacuum handle, the box, and then the thresholds, one right as you get in, and then one right on there.
Okay, great.
I lived in the U District and Magnolia for 3 years in the 70s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a pocket full of hides. Put those away. Did you get everything over there?
He caught it. Good boy.
Almost the one at the door too.
Yeah, he noticed it and then he got drawn into the further one. But I saw a little bit of a head lift that I don't think was the hide he was going to.
Did he stop himself going up the stairs or did you?
He stopped.
Okay, I just wondered, that was so interesting.
Yeah, there's so much I'd like to play with on that stairway.
Good boy. Good.
Sneezing and wiggling.
Can really hear him.
Yeah, he's one thing about at home instead of in class, he really works himself up in between runs, as opposed to going in his crate and just settling in.
Right. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So I would guess that probably the average dog is calmer between runs at home, but he definitely doesn't seem to.
No, he's been the whiner, crier, howler in between classes. I mean, in between runs.
Yeah. Handle just a little bit closer to him That's not what I normally say to you, but I feel like he wants to take 1 or 2 more steps into that doorway and he's hanging back. Good. Not that he couldn't have done it because the leash was loose enough, but he just was not feeling that he could.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Thanks.
Very
I'll
nice.
leave him out so he doesn't howl and cry.
Very nice. Okay, Delilah.
Okay, Delilah. Search.
Gigi.
Good
Good
girl.
girl.
Good
Same
job.
first hide. She nearly had that pair.
Good.
Nice.
Oh, too much food in your mouth. Sorry, kid. Search. Yes, good girl.
Good. Very nice. That was a really good movement of giving her space
Yeah.
and sending her along the trajectory of the room at the same time.
Yeah.
Just so happened to send her right into a hide, but that was just good happenstance. And go with her if she wants to go that way. At least point your feet at her, if not a lot of movement either way.
Good girl.
Good girl.
Very nice job.
That's an interesting corner.
Yeah, well, there's a door. This corner has a door
Mm-hmm.
that goes to the backyard.
Oh,
Come on,
Very nice.
this way. Good girl.
nice dogs.
Yeah. I think
Yes.
the dogs overall did very well, you know, with everything. There were some interesting hides that were hard, whether for explicable or inexplicable reasons, or at least obvious to us or not reasons. I think that threshold pairs and triplets and quadruplets, if you want, or whatever, are or can be a good way of bringing additional focus to the thresholds because there's more odor to grab them. Although sometimes with the odor movement we had tonight, or the expectation of the dog, you would have thought that much odor would have grabbed them and didn't necessarily, which was really interesting. But I think that we also saw with a couple of the dogs, or several of them, that one threshold hide, okay, got it, I can do that, no problem. But then expecting additional close in that space was hard. There was a bit of an expectation of, okay, got this one, let's really move out deep into the search area, which, just like anything, is a hide setting expectation type thing that, you know, we probably created by setting single thresholds and then more hides deeper in the search area. And we can also modify by setting more hides in the threshold area or more perimeter type patterning of there's threshold hide and then there's another one along the wall. Yes, Peg.
When we're working this, should we continue to work the search area, even though we know there's 1 or 2 or 3 at the threshold? Should we finish out the search, just let the dog have at it just for a few minutes, or what do you recommend? Because typically when we're training this kind of thing, where we like sort of say, oh, you got it, and we're kind of done. He wanted to search a couple times, so I just let him. But what do you recommend?
Yeah, so let me make sure I understand what you're asking. You're saying we know that they found all the hides, but they want to keep working, right? So I think that that is a really good thing to keep in mind and to do a variety. I think sometimes it's worth saying, yay, that was the last one. I know that was the last one. Let's go, because that's going to happen sometimes in Elite when you know there's 4 hides, you know there's 6 hides or 1 or whatever. And that it's also worth doing ones where you work for another minute, 2 minutes, or just search area coverage idea.
Right.
You know, I'm
Just
gonna
cover
get
the search area.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that what was it? I'm pretty sure you were in this class recently where Brenda Cox was running Marlowe, and she got a pair that was close in the search area immediately, and then was quite frustrated that she got put up right after that, because that dog holds high value for searching.
Yeah.
And I think that if you were to repeat that too much with that sort of dog, that she would start cataloging or skipping hides and say, I'm going to come back to that after I do all of the searching I want to do. So I think you could accidentally build patterns you really don't want of the dog ignoring hides so that they could get their search time. So I do think that finding all the hides, hopefully quite quickly, and then working can give dogs, especially dogs like that, the feeling that they've gotten to do the entirety of their job and they've gotten to make sure there's nothing else. I think I've mentioned this before, but I did a level 1 interior trial with Hazel after doing Elite and having done obviously quite a bit of NW3s with her. And she was upset and astonished that she didn't get to finish the search areas, including like basically standing her ground and going, what do you mean? You don't know that there's nothing else here. Taking you out of the search area. And I actually think it led to her having a slower time in the last search than she'd had in the other 3.
No.
And we had like the first 3 searches were pretty quick, and then we had a much larger space before the last search. But it wasn't something I had done in practice with her anytime near that, where I had said, okay, I'm just going to pull you out after, you know, we find one hide real quick, because I've been so focused on these more NW3 type searches or big unknown numbers or whatever. So I definitely think both are important and have different pros and cons. But I think you can definitely mitigate issues for the dogs who, you know, a 2-second search is not enough by keeping searching.
Thank you. Yeah, I can see how you could create problems. I mean, I felt sort of like the other day when he thought he found that one and went on and just wouldn't go back, and I waited him out, and he finally, but it was like, what did I do? What happened here? You know?
Right. Yeah. And I would say if it happens, you know, once, it was probably a weird fluke. And if it starts happening repeatedly, then, oh man, what did you do and how do we fix it?
Right. I've never seen him do that before, and we've trained a few days, and I haven't seen it, but I just think it was an odd problem. And but I was like, oh, that could be bad.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons that I am like the vast majority of the time repaying my dog for returning, because I've definitely done that in trial where I have not read a source correctly, and you know, my dog has had to rework it and tell me again, whether immediately in that moment or leaving, doing something else, and then coming back to it. So yeah, I like to have that safeguard, because I know that I am not always completely on my game in terms of calling hides when I should.
Really good points.
Any other thoughts or questions for tonight? All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Lovely to have you.
Thank you. That was fun.
See you guys later.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.